Burnout is getting crazy for a bunch of top players. If you don't know what burnout is essentially just overworking yourself and then getting exhausted and not having energy and not mentally being super attentive and well because you are so exhausted. It's happening with a lot of players in Smash Ultimate right now. I've noticed like a lot of people dropping out of Double Down. I saw Gluto, I think Tilde did, I think Light did, or Light was for a different reason, but I don't remember if he's actually going. A lot of players are just not going to Double Down when they were going to because there have been so many events. I know back in the Smash 4 days in the first year of Ultimate before COVID, there were a ton of events. There were so many events, but it always felt like there wasn't a reason to go to all of them. But unfortunately, with the addition of the Smash World Tour, which is points-based, and the Panda Cup, which is placement-based, people are going to a lot of events and feel a lot of pressure to go to all these events because it's a gold, it's a platinum, I need my points, or I need to qualify because I didn't get to qualify or something like that. Which is kind of unfortunate. And I wanted to use one example. I have Gluto's Smash Wiki page right up here. So I'm just going to go over the last few months of Gluto in particular. There are plenty of players that have done this. I feel like Burnout is also one of the reasons that Sparkle quit because he was going to fucking everything, and it's insane. So post Omicron. Or like, I guess in the middle, you have Wanted here, February 12th and 13th. The next week, Glitch Infinite. The next week, Dase to Sell. The next week, Ultimate Summit 4. Then the G4 Invitational. And the week after Summit was Collision. Then he had a 1 week break and then a different version of Wanted. And then immediately into Delfino Mazareta, which was the Mexican Invitational. 1 week gap, Genesis. Then immediately Pound. Then a 1 week gap. Oh no, he actually had like a month of break. Let's go Gluto having a month break. But in like 7 or 8 weeks, he had 1 break week or 2 break weeks. That's crazy, especially considering for Gluto, he's traveling internationally, right? Like very far, like across, the ocean. It's a minimum like 6-7 hour flight for him, I'm pretty sure. Then you have June 4th, an event. Then June 10th, so the next week immediately. The next week in Irkarabana. The next week in Kings of Fields, and then the next week Colossal. And then this week was going to be Double Down, but he dropped out. This is the state of tournaments at the moment. Everyone is trying to get a piece of a pie, and it is not good for players. It's not good for anyone. It is pure exhaustion. The thing is, it is really hard to not go to events. I, as someone who's been to 3 events since April, I went to Genesis, I went to Combo Breaker, I went to Battle of BC, 1 a month. I'm constantly getting questions of, oh, did you quit? Oh, why aren't you going to events? Oh, like, do you hate competing? Oh, like all that type of thing. And that hurts the brand, right? Like it hurts my income, it hurts my streams, it hurts my YouTube videos because people like don't trust what I say anymore because I'm not going to events, even though the last event I went to was like 3 weeks ago. It's really unhelpful as people, right? Not just me, as people trying to make a living off of this game, off of streams and stuff like that. And of course, everything is related to tournaments, right? Obviously, content creators are different, like pure content creators. But, when I do well at a tournament, I get a bump in views. When Mars does well in a tournament, he gets a bump in views. Same for Wadi, same for Riddles. Like Riddles, literally, his stream started popping off once he started getting top like 4 tournaments consistently. Like he was, he was a good streamer, don't get me wrong, like 300-400 views, I'm pretty sure. Then he top 8'd Collision and got like 700-800 viewers. And then like since then, he's just been steadily growing because he's been doing really well. And now he has an average of 11 or 1200 viewers, which then bleeds into the YouTube, which gives him more income, which allows for a lot of good things, right? It's a really good system when you're doing well. But the problem is there are so many events and people nowadays have so little, they just kind of forget that, sometimes you don't want to go to an event every week. Like there were literally times in Smash 4 even, or the beginning of Ultimate, when there were events, like a ton of events, especially in the summer. I would take like a 1 weekend break, like literally 1 weekend, because I was traveling all the time in 2019, like literally 2 to 3 weekends a month. And I would take like a week break and then people would be like, oh, why aren't you at this event? And it's like, because I just went to 3 events in a row. What are you talking about? And that I feel like is the current state of Ultimate. And the thing is, it's not even just like it makes people tired, which obviously care about your players. You want us to generally, be happy playing the game. And I know a lot of people are super stressed about like Steve and Kazi and stuff like that. And part of the reason they're super stressed is because they're going to every event and constantly playing and not giving themselves a chance to like recenter themselves or learn a matchup or anything like that. But from another standpoint, it dilutes the storylines really, really quickly. It is making them cycle out so well, or not so well, so quickly, like so detrimentally to the scene. Like literally, we had Leo versus Spargo, right? And let's see how many times they played. So Leo versus Spargo was like the storyline, right? Like it was number 1 versus number 2, Spargo's rise of dominance, etc., right? So let's just start with the Smash World Tour thing. So they played Smash World Tour Central America, Ultimate Summit 3, Port Priority 6, Winners and Grand Finals, Main Stage Grand Finals and the Reset, Smash World Tour Championships, Smash Ultimate Summit 4, Collision, Delfino Mazzareta, Genesis, and then these tournaments, which I don't really know what this is. I think it might have been when Leo went Corrin. So in the span of like 7 months, these players played 15 times, and it was the storyline, right? Like it was the number 1 thing. And even though people already thought Spargo was the second best player in the world before this happened, you know what immediately became the storyline? Because there were so many events and you didn't get a chance to breathe and even see anything? Light and Gluto. I mean, people know Leo's the best still, and obviously Spargo is taking a break, so it's a little bit different. But at the same time, you just have suddenly Gluto and Light are the story, right? Like, obviously, because it's like Leo's number 1 and Spargo's number 2. So then suddenly it was just like all about Gluto and Light. And the thing is, when you're going to all these events, right? Like, Gluto didn't do amazing at every single event he went to. But like, obviously they played a lot too, but that's not really the point. So like Gluto goes to so many events, right? And he's fucking, it's crazy. And he got 17th at the E-Carabana Invitational. I didn't see this. I have no idea what happened. And he got 5th at Battle of BC. And literally the entire time at Battle of BC, I talked to him a little bit. He's like, yeah, I'm exhausted. I am literally so tired because he's traveling all the time and not giving himself a break ever. And that's really, really hard to do, and it's really unsustainable for these players that are going to dip into either doing worse because they're exhausted. Things like this, right? And not to add pressure onto him, I understand, obviously, but like things like this add to the pressure, absolutely, of you constantly have to be going to events and you constantly have to be doing well, because if you're out of the spotlight for 2 weeks, people are gonna forget you exist. Like, people will literally not watch Japan for like a month, and then they're gonna forget Akola exists, right? Or Akola even exists. And because you're exhausting yourself and you're constantly going to so many events, it is so hard to keep up. He lost to Peli 3-2, and then who did he lose to in losers? And then Siski. Okay, well, those aren't bad losses. But like, either way, it is exhausting that there are so many events, and the thing is, each of these events are important, right? Like, they have meaning. It's not just an event that you can just skip because you're like, oh, I'm tired. Like, it's like, oh, this is your Smash World Tour placing. Panda Cup's obviously a little different because it's the top placers get the invites, so it's not like something you have to constantly keep up. Like, Riddles can literally not go to a Panda Cup event, until until Panda Cup finale, and he's good because he already qualified as CEO. Same for Big D, Toast, all those people. But for the Smash World Tour, and this isn't like a one is better than the other, it's just different, right? But for Smash World Tour, if people stop going to the Smash World Tour events, other players that are grinding the golds and the silvers and the platinums that are doing pretty good, even if they're not winning, can suddenly just surpass your rank, which means you might not be invited anymore, especially if you're not literally like Leo, Spargo, like the top of the top. If you're like in the 16 to 24 points range, I have no idea how many people get invited. I think it's 32. If you're one of those people, you have to be going to everything if you want a chance at the Smash World Tour finale, because otherwise you're not going to be in it. And that is really, really not helpful. And the problem is, of course, Smash doesn't really have the infrastructure to support stuff like that, because I know other esports like League and Valorant and everything, right? Like, have this infrastructure that you have coaching and you have more structured days, and you like live in these, places where like you have caterers. I don't know how everything works. I don't know which esports what. I don't really pay that much attention if I'm being wrong. But like, we don't have an off season. We don't have anything, right? We just have like play. And if you don't go to an event, people are going to forget about you or just ask where you are all the time. Double Down was supposed to be this huge big event that had everything there, had everyone, like so many people were going, and then like 10 top players dropped out because they're exhausted and they're tired and they literally can't travel anymore. Especially, this to me is irresponsible because we're still in COVID, right? Like, the numbers are rising again and people are traveling back to back to back without giving their body a chance to rest, which is going to weaken their immune system, because that's kind of how that works if you're not like sleeping really well and stuff like that, or you're not giving yourself the proper rest, which means that you're going to be more susceptible to the already crazy pandemic that still exists. And if people aren't testing correctly because they don't feel anything and they're asymptomatic, they're going to be spreading it to people at that event. So I don't know, man. It's a weird combination of stuff. I find that it is unsafe both mentally and physically for players for them to just be going to so many events. And like, at the same time, I don't blame people for going a lot of the times, because otherwise you're just letting up your, you know, your eye in the spotlight, your, you know, fame, your viewers, your everything, right? So like, I don't blame people for going, but like, wow, is it unhealthy in my opinion to continually go to every single event back to 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 back. And that's what a lot of players are doing. Shoutouts to me, Waddy, and Mars that are kind of taking breaks. The Panda boys, we know how to do it here. But like, I don't know. It's something that I don't really like. What do you think about Burnout? What do you think about, have you noticed that people play worse or something like that? Like, how do you as a viewer wish that this could be solved? Let me know down in the comments. And while you're down there, of course, don't forget to subscribe. I would appreciate it. And I will see you all next time.
Pikachu busted.